This Darlington 2 NASCAR 2024 weekend betting recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM, and also make sure to enter the free roll football contest. Say that 3 times fast. Up to $3,500 in prizes up for grabs. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll to enter today.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to mourn the loss for the second week in a row, as Justin Burton says, of Kyle Busch, 2 weeks in a row. Cody, okay, first and foremost, we're here to recap Darlington. Welcome to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. This was an exciting weekend of racing, first and foremost, if I can get that out. And I also do know that it was Darlington, not Richmond, not Martinsville, not Daytona. It was definitely, see, even the pros got it mixed up.
Even the pros get it mixed up. Yeah, talking about Kyle fucking Creed 2 weeks in a row. Oh, Kyle Busch, sorry. 2 weeks in a row. Justin could be up 4K if he pulls it off. JDK checking in saying, hey, Rod, who's the other guy? I'm guessing that's a dig at me for my absence from the Discord this weekend, but you guys are hard to keep up with when I got shit going on. So I love to see it.
You're preaching to the choir, man. Anytime I'm on an Army weekend and I try, like every once in a while that I can steal onto Discord, I'm like 500 new messages. Who's got time for that? Like I tried to scroll the highlights.
Yeah, I was out at the racetrack all weekend, local dirt track, and I kept checking in, and I'm like, yeah, like I was reading shit, but there's no way I would have a time to reply and read all of it. So you guys are awesome. We love the Discord community. It remains a great place.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like the fact that there's that many that I have to catch up on, I love that. I love the fact that you guys are in there. And even today, like I woke up this morning and there was a full conversation going. And then in the F1 Gambling Podcast Discord as well, there's a giant conversation going on. So you guys are making this racing thing a lot more fun than a lot of these other Discord channels.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Absolutely love it.
So, Switch saying Chastain thought we were going to the Glen next week. Oof, man. Well, what are you going to do now?
He's not really going anywhere anyways. So,
no, but it was a great weekend of racing. Darlington provided everything it needed to provide. We saw some great racing up and down the board. We saw all 500 miles play out in this entire week. I mean, we talked about it.
Oh, man, it's going to look a lot different after 500 than it does after 400, Rod. Who would have saw it coming?
You.
Oh, boy. That's, man, yeah, and you get a big, long shot upset winner. The crazy things that can happen in the Southern 500. Rod, do you remember when NBC kept saying, oh, these guys are locked into the playoffs and they're locked into the playoffs and they're locked in? And I kept saying, they're not fucking locked in. Nobody's locked in. What if we get all these winners? We're not going to get all these winners. All these winners don't happen anymore. 2 drivers, Rod. Count them. 1, 2 are the only drivers who made it in on points. First of all, if Ryan Preece doesn't run out of talent and Austin Dillon wins that race, that's 1 driver in on points. if this much, that much closer at Kansas for Buescher, and nobody is getting in on points. I'm telling you, it's don't be using locked in next year until we're actually locked in.
A memo from the desk of Cody Zeeb to the broadcasters of NBC and Fox and everybody else. Quit using locked in, damn it. Although you know what is locked in? That Sports Gambling Podcast mothership show that we are so lucky to be attached to. It's back, picking every NFL game against the spread like they've done since 2011, the founding of the Sports Gambling Podcast proper. So make sure you go check them out because, listen, man, this NFL season drives the train. They're what keeps us going week in and week out.
It's here, Rod. We're only 4 days away. Oh, the NFL. It's great. I love it.
Me too, which is why that was my first love. But NASCAR's kind of creeping up in there. It's like 1A, 1A.
You can love both. You can watch both. You can bet on both. And make sure you check out the Sports Gambling Podcast after you're done listening to this show, of course, because
yes,
we should be first in your queue.
Yes, absolutely should be. Plus, you got to make sure to go enter the free roll football contest. Up to $3,500 in cash up for grabs. You can sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. All right, Cody. Well, I feel like we should start with the Cup race since that is the one that is freshest in our mind. The Southern 500, not the Southern 400, not the Southern 450, the Southern 500. Just like we drew it up, Chase Briscoe takes the checkered flag, brings it home for Ford. What the hell, Cody? What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, boy, just talk about upsetting the apple cart. Like, one of those things that Briscoe's not a person I saw getting the win. I mean, you could make the case for Kyle Busch, right, which we did, and he finished second, and Eric Jones and some of these other people. But Chase Briscoe has already announced that he's leaving Ford. He's going to go to Toyota. Edsel Ford was tweeting about him from his burner account that's well known. Like, not upset. Zipadelli saying that some of their people's laptops don't work because Ford is shutting them out. All of these things. And it's like, yeah, he was top 5 there in the spring. And I made mention of how this is a dirt track driver type of race. Well, guess what Chase Briscoe is. But I still wouldn't have thought that Chase Briscoe would be the guy to get it done. You think, a lot of people were on Barry. I think you talked about him. Maybe it was the DFS episode or maybe in the betting episode. I can't remember. But that makes more sense. He stayed in the Ford camp, all this stuff. But yeah, Chase Briscoe gets it done. Definitely did. We're in the prediction making business, but not something that was even on my radar remotely, really. So very, very shocked by that. Obviously, it really upsets the playoff picture. And boy, maybe having Darlington as the final race of the season, not such a bad idea, Rod.
I definitely enjoyed the way it shook out this year. And you know what? It's funny because I had said something. I don't know if I said something in Discord or if I think it was on Discord. I was like, God, man, show me those Briscoe tickets. Hey, guess what? There are people in our Discord with Briscoe tickets. So hats off to the sharps in there because they had it covered. That's for sure. Although
yes,
I'm bearing the lead. I'm bearing the lead. Still can't believe no LaJoy top 10 ticket, Cody.
Hey, so here's the deal.
Baby.
Here's the deal, Rod. I was going to give Corey LaJoy out because I looked, and he's really fucking good in the Southern 500. He's finished 13th place like 2 or 3 seasons in a row. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then I'm like, I just ran the car lift on him in Daytona. I'm going to run the car lift on him this week because it's fucking Atlanta. What do you think? I'm not going to talk about Corey LaJoy? You're wrong. I'm going to. I was like, I won't do it. I'll change it out. I'll put somebody else in there because I don't want to hear all you fucking butthurt about LaJoy, LaJoke, all the whatever shit people. And I'm like, fine, I won't do it. I did give him the honorable mention in the DFS episode. Should have fucking bet on him. I'm done listening to you guys. You fucking hate for Corey LaJoy. That, Rod, you can't say it anymore. He now has a top 10 in his career, not on a super speedway. Phone's ringing off the hook for Corey LaJoy. We're going to be betting on him next year. Don't you worry about it.
I was just about to say just in time for him to no longer be with the 7 team anymore. So we'll see if that translates to next year in his next ride, whatever that may be, whatever Uber driver job he gets, we'll make sure that he's in the top 10 of the ratings.
He's going to be Uber in that Rick Ware 51 car.
Well, unless he goes a lift, and then unfortunately that's not it. But
and he'll be lifting the colleague 31.
Oh my God, let's not have that. But no, Chase Briscoe, listen, put on moves at the very end of that race. I would say very end, but he led quite a few of the last part of that. 29 laps in total, kind of split the lead off and on with the overtimes, with the pit strategies in there too as well. So yeah, listen, all in all, solid day for the guy. You can't take it away from him. He qualified well. He ran well. He definitely deserved that win. I mean, he fought pretty hard for it. We thought, even my brother was texting me over the course of the night. He's like, oh, this looks like the Kyle Larson show. 263 laps, Kyle Larson leads of this race. If this is a 400-mile race.
I could be wrong, but I think the stat I saw was he led more laps in this race than his teammates have led this entire season. Which is
I believe it.
Kind of sad coming out of the HMS camp, but boy, yeah. I mean, it was just absolute domination, but like that is why we stressed so much all week long. The extra 100 miles makes such a big difference. And boy, talk about big difference. Playoff altering, championship altering potentially difference that it played out to be.
Yeah. And really a relatively caution-free race for the better part of it until the very end, right? We had the first
except for the first 2 laps.
Well,
retired drivers.
We're going to get there when we start talking about the bets, because that pissed me off to no end. But other than that, we ran a pretty clean race. I mean, it was the end of the stage breaks, and then we get to the end of stage 2. Then all of a sudden, toward the very end of this, we start getting the craziness, right? We start seeing the jockeying around. Carson Hocevar thought he was jumping on a bumper car track after there toward the end of that race. But yeah, I mean, this was a very intriguing strategic race with all of the different pit strategies that were going on. And yeah, I mean, listen, I loved every bit of it, because it started to remind me of a Formula One race in that, but of course with NASCAR, there's still a lot more passing. But it started to remind me of that with all of the pit strategies, right? Who was going to stop early? How many? Denny Hamlin, is he going to stay out for the rest of the race? Is he going to one stop it like Charles Leclerc? Like, who knows at this point, right? That was where we were at.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian checking in. Best performance of the night goes to Tyler Reddick. The flu race, I believe it was Matt Seltz that related to my ex calling it that. Yeah, boy, what a fucking trooper, Rod. That's all I got to say about that. He sure pushed through it.
I hate driving down the block when I feel like junk. I can only imagine 500 miles in and then dropping the pills. Like,
that's got to be the word. Like, okay, we're going to get these pills. You know, it's going to take another 20, 30 minutes till they kick in, right? Hopefully they'll give you some relief. Then you drop them and you have to wait till the next stop. Oh, just absolutely brutal.
Although what's funny, I just finished watching the How I Met Your Mother episode where they talk about the stomach issues, where they say, if you're having stomach issues, say stomach issues. Don't say you're getting sick. Don't say you're gonna, float out the other end, because then people picture you having those problems. And so sure enough, Tyler Reddick's like, I'm about to puke. I'm about to crap my pants. And then here I'm thinking, just say stomach issues, Tyler. People don't want to think about you doing all that stuff, especially in your car.
Boy, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, that's a gritty performance though overall, and good for Tyler Reddick just to hang on as much as he did. Ends up finishing 10th in what should have probably been like Martin Truex Jr. jumping in your seat.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, he really did soldier through, and look, he wins the regular season title. That's off to a good start for the 2024 Cup Series champion Tyler Reddick. So yeah, excited to see him get those bonus points that he will carry with him forward round to round.
There's 1 point difference between him and Kyle Larson, boy, and that was the difference between Kyle Larson staying in the front. Yeah.
Well, that's the difference in Kyle Larson, not electing to start the Coke 600, which is, man, impressive that he was still that close, missing an entire race. But he's had, so just, spoiler alert real quick. We're going to have a one of our episodes this week will be filling out our playoff bracket and talking through this. Like, and JDK said it, broke 1,000 laps led this year, but he's only got 3 wins. Like, man, they've struggled to actually finish. Like, yeah, and that switch, to be honest, he's thrown away a lot of races this year. Like, that's going to be a topic of conversation, because if they continue to race that way, he's not going to make it to Phoenix. And I'm going to have some thoughts on that later this week.
I would probably have punched Denny Hamlin if I was Kyle, just for the sheer hell of it, because I'm sure that battle cost him a couple of points here and there throughout the season. So yeah, definitely. All right, well, we'll talk through the rest of this race as we break down our bets, as we always do. But let's tell you first about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 100 times your entry. NFL is back, and there's a ton of Pick'em specials to get you started. You can also use specials and boost on all the flex entries. I hope to God that you guys took the extra picks that I gave you on my Twitter for the Xfinity race. Both of them were winners. Thank you very much, because guess what? That was a lot of fun, and we enjoy using Underdog Fantasy, and we enjoy giving you our Underdog Fantasy picks for the season. So sign up right now with our promo code RACESGPN. You're going to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash, and if you would have signed up with that and got the free cash, you got more free cash thanks to those picks. So go to, like I said, underdogfantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN.
Martin Truex Jr., 9.5, Rod. Oh, my God. 9.5. Absolutely unreal. Speaking of which, Rod, are you ready to get to the bets for the Southern 500?
I am. Let's do it.
Let's recap, and let's start with Tyrone Gibbs over Martin Truex Jr. plus 115. Talk about no sweat bet. 500 miles, Rod. We made it 3, and this bet cashed. Martin Truex Jr. pulling out the retirement card early. Unfortunately, your bet was just absolutely horrible luck on this wreck. But yeah, Ty Gibbs at that point, cashes for you 3 laps in and makes you some money. Not as good of a run as we'd hoped. I know Brian's in the chat here, and he's thought that Gibbs was overrated. Maybe a little correct there. Luckily, I was not incorrect on Martin Truex Jr. sucking, which I think he will continue to do as we go through the playoffs. Almost, oh boy, Rod, almost blew that entire huge lead he had over the stretch, getting to the playoffs there. That would have been just a horrible, horrible way for him to go out. So we'll see how his playoffs go, but pretty easy money fading him here with Gibbs over Truex at plus 115. Unfortunately, you'd beat me to the document. I was a little upset that you took this play, but sort of worked out for me, Rod, because your bet talk about bad luck.
One car that needed to beat Martin Truex Jr.
Not only that, but it wasn't Blaney's fault. Like, it was not Blaney's. It was Truex's fault. He's the one who caused this. He could have wrecked anybody in the field.
Anybody. And that's exactly my thought. As soon as it happened, I was like, anybody else. The 12 could have gotten through. The 12 could have knifed his way through that stupid 19 mistake. But the one car that needed to beat Truex to beat this one was Ryan Blaney. And guess what? That didn't happen. It was Truex. It was Blaney in the very end, because Truex managed to limp his stupid, broken, retired car off of the damn track, and freaking Blaney couldn't even get there. I'm so pissed, because again, Blaney had no place to go. He went high, and he almost made it past Truex, but in the end, did not.
This was just, the shittiest of luck you could possibly have on this, because obviously fading Martin Truex Jr. was the point here, especially getting plus money against him. And it was very much the correct call. Wrong place, wrong time for Ryan Blaney. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. Andrew checking in. Hi, all. Great weekend for me. He thought Truex was getting the sensor.
You're right. I
we're about done.
In Discord.
Did you?
Yeah.
We're about done talking about him anyways, because he's retired already and won't be racing soon. So that's whatever. But I had Eric Jones, top 10, plus 150, Rod. I'm always going to bet on Eric Jones in the Southern 500. This wasn't the time for it. He still managed a 24th place finish, which, considering the massive amount of problems it seemed like he had during the race, not that horrible of a finish. It seemed like every time I was a little bit in and out, I was at the track. We were kind of watching in the booth, watching on my phone. And just like every time I looked up, Eric Jones having another issue. Eric Jones this, Eric Jones that. So not his day, unfortunately, but the Southern 500 is just Eric Jones is very, very good at this race at this track. Not his year this year, but I tell you what, it's next year. He's probably going to be my, when we go through and do our preseason picks, guess who's getting picked for the Southern 500? It's Eric Jones. Guess who's it's just he's always going to be picked in this race because he's been so successful in it. Shit happens, and unfortunately didn't cash this bet, but he's always going to remain on the card.
Yeah, the announcers they brought it up pretty much all night long about Eric Jones, and anytime he would be in the top 15,
I saw some people were pretty upset with how much they were talking about Eric Jones. But
yeah,
hey, he's been look when you've been that good in such a crown jewel race that should they not talk about Denny Hamlin when they were in the Daytona 500? Well, he won it 3 fucking times, so you probably should because he's really fucking good at that race specifically. That's just how it goes.
You know who is really good at the Southern 500? Maybe not the Southern 300, the Southern 400, but the Southern 500.
Hey,
Ross
500's all that matters. Right.
Give me Ross Chastain, top 10, started 22nd. This was a masterclass in strategy, in being able to hang on.
They took some notes from Ferrari earlier.
They did take some notes from Ferrari, and look, that it didn't matter. That it worked out for him. He knew that his only way in was to win this race. They had to make some kind of move to keep him within striking. I mean, he wasn't going to win. That's no way he was going to win the race, but he did end up finishing.
What you got to do, I think that was part of your handicap was they knew they were going to have to put themselves in position to have a shot at winning this race. Well, if they don't win, they're going to be right there in the mix, and you nailed it because maybe wasn't there after 400, but things are going to be different after 500 than they were at 400, which we said so many times. Nico saying Trackhouse has been getting it together since Indy. Have they? I don't really think that I've been impressed with much that I've seen from Trackhouse. I know that Suarez is in the playoffs. I get it, but he's not been running that great. I don't really think Ross has been running that great. I wouldn't say Ross was great this weekend. I think, again, strategy and making the right calls and surviving it to the end put him in position there. But I don't know that they were that impressive or showed that much speed. So I don't know on that. Top 10s, Rod. I went with a couple of long shots because I told you there was going to be somebody that was going to get in the top 10 that was going to be an upset person. Now, unfortunately, Corey LaJoie decides the 1 week I don't bet on him to put his car up there. But, hey, that's all right. I had Austin Dillon at 8-1. Look, he finished in 15th place. He's been good in this race. He's good in these longer runs. He was there at the end. 5 spots out of it at 8-1. That's the type of thing you're looking for. You're not always going to hit these long shot bets, but if you're getting guys that are getting close to it, that is a plus. I had Justin Haley as well. 27th place finish for Justin Haley. I don't really remember him running much better throughout the day than that. I did note as I placed this bet, he hadn't been as good in the 500 as he'd been in the 400. So maybe to the point of stick to the 500 trends, which we're going to talk about more in a few minutes. Probably should have done that, but that's okay. 10-1, I think it was worth a shot based on his history at the track. Carson Hocevar, top 10, 12-1, goes out and qualifies in second place. Rod, you think you were getting 12-1 after qualifying? No, you fucking weren't. He then forgot that he was in a race, thought they were playing bumper cars, and he was like, I think he was the cause of most of the cautions in the race. And that was unfortunate. So, but hey, nice CLV there. You like to see that, getting that 12-1 early in the week. Qualifies in second place. Obviously, it's a 500-mile race. Obviously, I said don't look at practice, don't look at qualifying because they didn't matter. Guess what? They didn't matter. But it was still nice to see him up there for a while at least.
Yeah, and just JDK actually bringing up that it was Barry, Gregson, and Dillon all in that one crash, and that definitely Dillon was in the top 10 at that point. So was Barry.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot that he was running up there before that, which it still ends up in 15th place. So, has he not get caught up in that? Or had he not gotten caught up in that, then really would have been alive for a top 10 there.
Speaking of not getting caught up, if William Byron had not gotten caught up in the crash that took out Bubba and Gregson and Barry and Suarez and Dillon and Gibbs, well, guess what? He probably would have still not finished in the top 5, but he was a top 5 car for a better part of the day. Like he was jockeying between 6th and then 5th, and then he got up to 3rd at one point, I think, and maybe even 4th. But boy, I tell you, the last 50 or 100 miles of that race just took a toll on that 24 team, and then that last wreck pretty much sealed the deal. Byron could have been a top 5 car. Him and Larson both were running well, and unfortunately, yeah, that wreck it just made it to where that wasn't going to happen. So hate it, even though it was a good bet, just got taken out.
Yep, that's how it goes. Another week, Rod, of taking top Ford and it being the correct way to approach things. What if something happens to Ryan Blaney on lap 2, Rod? Well, he's out of the way now, right? What if Joey Logano doesn't have a good day? Well, he had an okay day, but wasn't the top finishing Ford. What if these, Brad Keselowski, what if he doesn't have a great day? He didn't really have a great day, finished in 14th place, right? You're going to get a longer shot to win it. And that's what happened. Chris Buescher, top finishing Ford, 5-1, 6th place, Rod. You tell me Ford's going to finish in 6th place, be the top finishing Ford, 5-1. I like those odds. You weren't getting him 5-1 to be in the top 10, maybe not even to be in the top 5, which he didn't finish in anyways. And he's the top finishing Ford, except Chase Briscoe won the race. So it doesn't catch this, unfortunately. But to finish in 6th place, you like that. Gragson was the other one at 20-1 as the longer shot sprinkle. Of course, he was caught up in that wreck that you had talked about earlier. So unfortunately, he didn't catch either. But, Briscoe ends up being the top Ford. Buescher ends up being the next best Ford in 6th place. Then you get Logano, then Ryan Preece in 12th place. So again, top Ford market was another good place to look. Doesn't cash this week unless you took Briscoe, of course, but it was the correct thinking, and I think we had some good plays with Buescher being right there in position. And Gragson, we obviously didn't get to see the full, what he maybe could have done being caught up in that wreck.
Yeah, I mean, again, that was if Chase Briscoe would have gotten caught up in that earlier or something, or blew a tire or hit the wall or whatever, then yeah, you're right in line for Chris Buescher to get that, because again, the last couple of laps, man, Buescher was making love to that wall, and there definitely was an opportunity for him to take it in a little too deep at one point and just and lose control. So yeah, I mean, you're right path, definitely a right bet, not the right outcome. Much like Kyle Larson as a top 3 car when he finishes in 4th freaking place after leading 260,000 laps on this track. There's no other way. I'm not even going to justify the rest of it with it, because that was not a bad bet. And the end of that race, he should have still been a top 3 car, but damn it all. I mean, that's what happens when you have 15 different green, white checkers attempts, and you just, every once, everybody takes tires.
Back to 500 miles is such a big difference over 400 miles. It really comes into play late. You had all the strategy. I mean, the strategy stuff at the end was crazy with, some guys pitting and then like Chastain staying out, and then some guys pitting, some guys not pitting. You had the kind of constant battling and changing up there, and just didn't quite work out for Larson. But this was the right call. You got him almost 2-1. He was really fucking fast all day. He led, 263 laps or whatever it was. That, I mean, your normal intermediate race is usually about 267 laps if it's a 400-mile race. So that's pretty close to leading almost an entire intermediate race. And, that you can't ask for too much more than that. And just one spot short always sucks when that happens. Speaking of one spot short, Rod, Chase Elliott, top 10. He finishes in 11th place.
Do you want that? Hold on.
No, not really. But
you sure? Because I got that for you.
That was much better than my version. So next time I'll save myself and allow you to do that. But I don't know. I don't really think. I mean, was he a top 10 car throughout the day? No. So, but finishing 11th, like
that was
it's one of those things where and that really was strategy. But it's like you were so close to being right, but it didn't work. And I had car lifted him top 5, top Chevy, win the race. Obviously, none of those hit. So big swing and miss on Elliott. Man, they need to figure their shit out, Rod. That car and team has just not been good this year. I mean, he's got the one win, which he sort of kind of lucked into more than anything. It was right place, right time in the kind of chaos of overtime and everything like that at Texas. And just they haven't shown the speed and ability that his teammates in Byron have shown, and then Larson, obviously, dominating on the day. Need to figure something out. Don't count them out because he is a streaky driver. And if he gets on a streak in the playoffs, we saw it in 2020, it will go win the championship. But getting pretty close to sounding the alarm bells in the Elliott camp, I think.
I think he and the 48 are going to have to sit in the timeout chair for a little bit until they can figure out what's going on. All right. My next bet was under 11.5 drives to lead a lap. There was exactly 11 drivers that led a lap in this race. I was, oh my God, Cody, I was sweating it because you can see the NASCAR website. It shows you the amount of leaders. And at the end of stage 2, I think we were at 8 already. And I was like, oh, you got to be freaking kidding me. Like, there's no way on God's green earth that we're going to go through this and not have 4 more leaders. Well, thank God that Chase Briscoe was leading laps. Thank God that Kyle Larson led 263 laps. That cut down on the ability for a lot of people to lead laps. But yeah, man, 11 drivers. This actually hit. So thank goodness for no new leader. Thank God for Kyle Busch not taking the lead on one of those restarts too, because that would have definitely threw a wrench into that plan. But under 11.5 drivers to lead a lap, cash it. But
gave you a bit of a sweat, but yeah, cash it. Love it.
Yep, but the car number did not. I had 30 plus, so screw that. Canceled each other out.
That's how it goes. That was a plus 240, so it definitely was a longer shot anyways, but that's how it goes. Speaking of 30 plus, I had Tyler Reddick to win the race plus 650. Look, he has a fast car. He looked pretty good at points kind of throughout the race. He was hanging around up there for a while. How much did the illness affect him? We don't really know. It was one of those deals where he saw he's sick and stuff, and you're like, he's sick. He's got Michael Jordan on the car. Like, this is going to be such a great story of the flu race, the Southern 500 that Tyler Reddick wins. Unfortunately, not the case. Kyle Busch, a 24-1 Rod. Second place with a shot at the end to get it done. This was a great bet. Doesn't cash, of course, but on the right track. Bubba Wallace, 28-1, goes out, gets the pole, leads a bunch of laps early. Then he falls behind Larson, but second place in the stage. He's kind of hanging around up in there, gets caught up in the wreck. The disappointment on Michael Jordan's face. Oh, so sad to see. But that's how it goes. 28-1 though for the guy who sits on the pole, much like the host of our bet earlier. You're not getting that after he starts on the pole. So good early in the week grab for a guy that you knew was going to be in the mix. Look, they had to throw everything at it. He was fast. Reddick was fast. Didn't play out in his favor, but he could have been the winner of this. And then Eric Jones at 40-1. Again, if you're giving me Eric Jones at 40-1 in the Southern 500, I'm going to take it. Wasn't his day. It's still a legacy car. Like, don't forget that. But he's so good there in that race that I'm not going to not bet him at that price. So no regrets there. No regrets, Rod. I would absolutely bet that one again.
No regrets. Bubba should have pitted. That Booty Barker should have brought Bubba in. That last pit stop that they should have picked, because that was the difference. I think he had the opportunity to be that faster car instead of all the people behind him, because it was only 2 spots that he wouldn't even have lost. He'd have been in the mix, like 1 spot out of where he was before. Hindsight's 2020, I know, but I'm just saying I would have pitted in that instance. So I'm just saying, if you want me as a crew chief next year, Bubba, I'm available and ready for you. Although don't, because I may call picking Ty Gibbs to win his first race. I mean, he was in the mix.
Yeah, he was. Like, that's the thing is I sort of said earlier, a little, Brian had mentioned he was overrated, not a great finish, but he was running good before the wreck. I mean, he was in the mix. And again, you look at the fact that Chase Briscoe won this, so it's not crazy to think calling out a Ty Gibbs could win this, and he was fast. He showed speed. He's getting so close, Rod.
He is. One of these days, what we're going to talk about is breakthrough win for sure. Well, speaking of breakthrough wins, it didn't happen in the Xfinity race, but we'll break all of that stuff down when we come back. But I want to tell you first about Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? I know each and every one of you sitting there does, because guess what? You are D-Gens to the core. And I know that you already know what a sports betting model is, but if you don't, that's fine, because SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trends analysis to give you even more betting insight. The Rhythm college football had me on Colorado versus North Dakota State under 59.5, which was a sweet cash. Make sure you're getting down on that as well. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. I hate buying tickets for events, or at least I used to, right? I never knew if I was going to buy a ticket that was actually from an actual event or from a person that's trying to scam me because they're selling the same ticket to 15 other people. And then when I show up, they're like, no, sir, you don't have the ticket. And I'm saying, I'm showing you the ticket right here. And they say, no, sir, I can't scan it because it's not the real ticket. You see where I'm going with this? It's stressful. It hurts me and I hate it. But Game Time is taking all of that away, because now you can buy from Game Time by going to their gametime.co, and you can purchase real tickets that are not fake and people trying to pass it off of you. You get low prices on last minute ticket deals too, because sometimes I don't know if I can make it to an event until the day before, and then I'm sweating because I'm paying fees out the wazoo trying to get myself to this event. Don't worry about that. Game Time takes those fees away. They give you better prices. Plus, it's made for your phone, so everything can be taken care of right from the palm of my hand. And I even get a picture of where I'm going to be sitting when I actually make it to the event, satisfied that I bought my tickets with Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code SGPN for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account, redeem the code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. You know what wasn't very stressful? Watching Christopher Bell win that Xfinity race on Saturday.
No, Rod, didn't Sheldon Creed win? Oh, caution flag. Sorry, Sheldon Creed. Once again.
Oh, wait. I've got a sound for Sheldon Creed. I mean,
oh my God. At least he didn't finish second place. I think the silver lining on this whole thing, Sheldon Creed did not finish in second place. You have to think, if you're Sheldon Creed, that's the spot you don't want to finish in. Like, if you're not going to win, let me finish in third place so I don't keep adding to that.
Wave Cole Custer
show 600 times on every single Xfinity Series broadcast of how many fucking times he's finished in second place. Oh my God, Rod. What just absolute heartbreak. Again, I was standing up in the booth with our buddy James, and I go, that something is good. He was so fucking fast. He ran Bell down. He passed him, just running away. And I go, something bad is going to happen. And then something bad happened. And Sheldon Creed loses another one. Absolutely heartbreaking for Mr. Puppy Dog Eyes. But Rod keeps the dream alive of him winning Phoenix and walking it off.
Keeps the dream alive, maybe. I don't know if
that's really all I know. Well,
it's all
you have to dream before it can be a reality, Rod, and I'm currently dreaming of it.
Three laps. That's all he needed. 3 laps of green flag racing. And guess what? That did not happen, because that final caution with the 16 of AJ Allmendinger,
which we're going to fucking talk in a minute, Rod. God damn. Oh, ruined what could have been such a great day for me.
All right, let's get into the bets, because I tell you, I had a fantastic day.
You did. Well, see, you come over to the Gibbs side of things, and look at how your day turns out, Rod. Geez, I've been trying to tell you this for 500 or 490 episodes. I'm glad you finally learned. All right, Rod, these head-to-heads, boy, they sure know how to hit them on the nail. Parker Kligerman over Carson Kvapil, minus 130. Carson Kvapil, 14th place finish. Parker Kligerman, 13th place. Little bit of a sweat there, but does get it done. Just not, I don't know. Kligerman ran good all day. Like, he was 4th in stage 1. He was 8th in stage 2. He was running well. And then I don't even really remember what happened to him there at the end. I mean, when Joe Graff Jr. gets around you, something bad is happening. One, again, like, that overtime kind of changed a lot of things, right? But Kvapil, not just like, he was just out there running his race, and it was a fine race, but he was never really a top 10 car. He was never going to be in the mix too much, which is exactly how I kind of thought this was going to happen. And So, yeah, it was a little bit more of a sweat at the end than you want it to be, but ticket does cash. Kligerman over Quapple. I think that I don't remember. I think Quapple still has a few races going forward. We're going to bet on him on short flats, and we're going to bet against him on bigger tracks because I think that that's just the way to go for now. I would imagine we'll see him full-time next year. I think that'll change as the season goes on. But as he's still getting used to this, I think that we need to kind of keep fading him a little bit when it comes to the bigger tracks, and worked out for us this week.
Yeah, Quapple was one of the biggest movers over the course of the race, too. I mean, he started in 27th and ended up finishing in 14th. And every time you saw the score bug, it was like big movers, and it was Quapple moving up a few spots. So he definitely ran a really solid race, but like you said, just couldn't really crack the top 10 because his starting position was so bad that he just had a lot to overcome. So I love it. This one, as much as Martin Truex pissed me off in the Cup race, Joey Logano, 12 laps in. Oh, by the way, hold on. I'm sorry. I got to take this call. Yes, Miss Deegan. Yeah. This is AM Racing. Yeah, we want you back, please. We're sorry. It wasn't you.
No, it wasn't her. Like, I get it. The performance was not always great from her, and she makes mistakes. She's made mistakes, but I am now more convinced than ever that this was more an AM Racing problem than a Haley Deegan problem. Look at the shitty fucking cars. Josh Berry, Joey Logano, whoever the fuck else they had in there a couple weeks ago. They could put you and I in there. You put fucking Max Verstappen in there. The cars fucking suck. So I know it's a great fun thing to hate on Haley Deegan, and I'm not saying she's the next greatest thing ever, but she clearly was not the fucking problem here. And I think that we need to circle this 15 car more going forward, especially when you get big names in there like Joey Logano, and it's like, oh, it's Joey Logano. We got to put some respect behind his name. No, we fucking don't, because this car is a piece of shit.
I will tell you that over the course of the last 4 races, this 15 car has not finished one of them. Ran 4 laps in Daytona, 12 laps last week, 65 out of 128 at Michigan, and 0 laps at Indy with Josh Berry in the car.
Didn't even make it a lap at Indy again. Like, and the Daytona one, he just got caught up in a wreck. That's going to happen. What you can do about that? But still, like, it just, again, it's so early in this race. Joey Logano pulls off, and you're like, man, this car is just, they've got some serious issues.
Yep, 12 laps in, this one cashed, so there was no sweat at all in that one. Jesse Love, Logano did not collect Love in the problem, thank God. But Jesse Love, hey, let's give it up for Love, man. Starts 25th, finishes 6th in that 2 car.
You gotta love that for Love, Rod.
You gotta love it for Love, and I said too that Jesse probably wouldn't be the greatest on this track. I mean, thank God 6th place, but even if he finished 25th. Where he started, he still would have cashed this bet.
Well, he could have finished 37th and cashed this bet for you.
Well, there it is. So
that's the nice thing about it. But, look, paid up a little bit on this next one, but I was very confident in it. Cole Custer is really fucking good at Darlington. Guess what? Cole Custer really fucking good at Darlington. -140 when I gave it out. He ends up starting in 21st place. So this number went down a little bit, I do believe. I don't remember what it was. I had checked on it, and I noticed that it had gone to a better number. So hopefully you got in -140. Hopefully you got the better number. Hopefully you took both. Doesn't matter. Cole Custer, really fucking good at Darlington. 2nd place finish. I mean, it's just like his statistics are basically 1st through 3rd in the last 6-7 races there. And he adds to that once again. I'm trying to remember where he was running. I think he was 3rd or 4th before that last caution. So I don't think that this would have not cashed if we hadn't had the chaos at the end there, but he was in the mix throughout the entire day to cash this.
Yep. That was a juiced up one for a reason. And obviously sometimes you only pay the juice if you lose, and chalk is going to be chalk, which is why when you're going to be plus money for Sheldon 2nd place Creed at plus money as a top 5 car at +120, look, you take that all day long and you hammer it. You put your mortgage on it. Guess where he finished? 3rd place, which if you're counting, that's within the top 5. And this was never really in danger of ever not being a cashing bet, because Creed was always in the front couple of cars. I mean, if not in the top 3, in the top 4. I think there was like one time in the race where he slid out of the top 5 on his own. But by and large, there was no way, because Sheldon Creed was in the mix
that car was so fucking
So
fast
fast.
at the end of the race, too. Oh, man, it was fast. Yeah, this was a great call by you. Man, I'm telling you, you keep betting on these Gibbs guys, Rod. You're going to make yourself some money on the series. Tried to pull the trigger on Ryan Sieg, Rod Sieg. Didn't matter which one you bet on, didn't cash. Top 5, 9-1. This was not a Sieg week. Again, I didn't really get to listen to the full broadcast, so I don't know if they talked about it being an SHR car at all or anything, but 18th place run for him. Started in 13th place. I don't really remember ever seeing him sniffing the top 5 at any point. So I don't think this bet really ever had a chance, but based on what we've seen this season from him on these bigger intermediate tracks, it's been one that's paid off and been really close to paying off multiple times. So swing and a miss here, but at 9-1, a swing and a miss I'm willing to take.
I think they talked about him one time during the pit cycle when he was somewhere around the front. They're like, and here's Ryan Sieg, who's usually pretty good here. And then that was about it. So
not good.
The one contractual mention of Ryan Sieg. All right. I had Bell as a top 3 car again at plus 120.
What a fucking
how?
Wow. Yeah,
How?
You absolutely crushed it. You really did.
Yeah, there was no way on God's green earth that Bell was not going to be a top 3 car. I mean, to win, and then
and even if we don't get the caution at the end that allows him to win the race, he's still a top 3 car, right? Because he's gonna finish second place. So this was he dominated on the day, led a ton of laps. So this was a great call by you. I fucking said it too. I said we might look back on this and laugh at how big of numbers had on Christopher Bell, and
you did.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now. Rod, AJ Allmendinger, top 5, 4-1. AJ Allmendinger is in a fast, hot rod. 3rd place in both stages. Here we come. 3 laps to go. AJ Allmendinger is in 5th place. AJ Allmendinger gets in a cold closer. AJ Allmendinger hits the wall. AJ Allmendinger owes an apology to Sheldon Creed. He owes an apology to me and all of you who bet him at 4-1 for a top 5. This was a fucking great bet. This is why you sprinkle long shot top 5s. The Sieg one didn't pay off. The Allmendinger one pays off because he's a top 5 car until he hits the fucking wall. God damn, he cost me money on this bet. He cost me money in DFS. Killing me, AJ. But I mean, really, like I'd have to look at the deal with Custer again. I don't remember exactly what happened there. I know he got into him, and I don't know what caused that contact to happen. Which reminds me that Custer was running in 4th. Again, I said I couldn't remember where he was before the caution. But just sit in 5th and take it, AJ. So sad, Rod, because this was such a good bet. And SVG, by the way, shout out to him, his teammate, ends up in 7th after the dust settles on the chaos. Collier brought some fast hot rods this week, but just not to be, I guess.
I didn't get to hear AJ's radio after that because AJ usually likes to beat himself up over that. So I mean it's tough, but I think he just lost the back end. I think that's really what ended up happening to it. I think he got up the track a little too much, and Custer was there, and that's all she wrote. So that's all right, because it helped this next bet to win. Winning car number over 17.5. Yet another plus money bet for that. Guess what? 20 car is higher than 17.5, or better than, or it's over 17.5, which means this bet cashed. And I said it too. I said this is probably just going to end up being another double down on Bell, because I think Bell's going to end up winning this race, or at least having a good show of it. And guess what? The 20 car won the race, which is exactly what we were hoping for. And then even then, Sheldon Creed could have ended up being it.
Yeah, because he was, again, 3 to go, was going to win it, and then obviously doesn't. So great call by you, Rod. Turns out not Heim time. 12-1, top 5. Not a bet I regret placing. This car in particular, this 26 car, some weeks they have it, some weeks they don't have it. I don't know that there's any rhyme or reason to when they have it, when they don't have it, when they have problems, when they don't have problems. I don't remember seeing Corey Heim throughout this race. I don't know if they even talked about Corey Heim throughout this race. I don't know if they had any reason to talk about Corey Heim throughout this race. What did he finish? 26, I think, and it doesn't really matter because he was nowhere close to the top 5. 12-1, though, for what he's done in this car, for what the capability. It's much like the Sieg thing. Like, we've seen that car be able to finish in the top 5 with a driver that's capable of doing it. You're getting a huge number. It's not always going to happen. It didn't happen this time, but not a bet that I regret placing.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he started in the top 12, so that was a good start for him. But yeah, there was no way he was going to be a top 5. There was too many strong cars to break into the top 5 with him not being able to run as well as the rest of them. So the one that did not hit on my card was Chevy to win. But again, that was minus 120, and I was hedging on the fact, it was a hedge. So
so whoop-de-doo. Like that. You're glad this is the one that didn't hit because it meant the rest of your bets hit. So again, another good call by you, Rod. This is why I don't bet on JRM drivers to win, Rod. Justin Allgaier plus 375 never sniffed anything close to the lead. Did he even lead a lap in this race?
Not one. Nope.
He started in 20th place and just never could get up there. I mean, he worked his way up to 7th in stage 1, and then he kind of hung around the top 5 and ends up in 10th at the end of the day, but never had a chance to win this race. He'd been so good here, and it seemed like they started to figure things out, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to put on the JRM cap for a day. I'm going to give Rod the chance to bet on all these JGR cars, make all this money so he can see what it feels like. I won't be doing that again, Rod, so I hope you enjoyed it. Sam Mayer at 14-1. Look, the number is just too big for a driver this good. It could go either way. It went a way. Mayer got caught. Well, that was like super early in the race too, wasn't it? I mean, he was caught up. I don't even remember what happened, but caught up in something very early, spun out, whatever the fuck happened, and never had a chance after that. So 14-1 though, for a guy that's capable of getting it done any given week, I don't hate. Rod, do you have the button handy?
Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me. If you buy me a little bit of time.
I decided that I would give this guy one more shot to take his name off the list and return to it. So I placed a bet on in the number 81 at 14-1. That was a horrible idea, and he's going in the retired pile over here with Martin Truex Jr. Not going to be touching him for a while. Still going to hope for the championship tickets that I have sitting out there, but won't be betting on the 81 driver again for a while. I don't know what happened, but it just seems like I don't know. Somebody from Krypton or whatever the fuck showed up with kryptonite, and he just can't, lost all his powers or what the fuck happened. But they were so fast early in the season, and he's just been shit lately, and I don't understand why.
He thought he was driving the 18 for a while, and they're like, Chandler, you're the 81. And he was like, oh. And then that was it. So that's kind of what happened, I think, to Chandler Smith. We're good. I said his name. Damn it. Oh, well.
Way to go. Put 25 cents in the jar, Rod.
All right. Well, you were going to have to put like 2,500 in the jar for actually giving him out on the show. All right. I said, look, because you took everybody else that I was thinking about taking, I was just going to take Christopher Bell because guess what? He's probably going to end up winning this race, and at plus 350, that's still a damn good price. Leads 108 of 150 laps in this race, wins the race. So, I mean, it was
a Rod Villagomez weekend, my friends. I hope you listen to the F1 Gambling Podcast because we're going to be doing a recap on that later this week. And Rod gave out some really fucking killer bets this weekend.
I had that pretty much the whole
you called your shot and you fucking nailed that Ferrari bullseye.
I love it, and I nailed the Xfinity bullseye as well. So I'll take the crown this week because I don't normally get it. So Cody, go ahead and give that one to me.
Yes.
I'll keep it safe for this week, and then I'll give it back to you because you're the one that does it.
Well, Rod, super speedway racing this weekend. Excited for that. Xfinity Series, Cup Series. Back in action at Atlanta. Cup Series will kick off their playoffs. Xfinity Series is another wild card race. Chance for somebody else to lock themselves into the playoffs, Rod. That's going to be exciting as well. Truck Series is still taking another week off, so none of that. But that's going to give us an opportunity for an extra show this week. We'll combine the DFS stuff into one episode, and we're going to do our playoff predictions. So we're going to get out the sheet, have our 16 drivers. We'll walk you all the way through it, give out our championship for, crown our champion, Tyler Reddick, the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series champion. I already wrote it before the season. I'm not changing my prediction now, Rod. But that's going to be pretty fun to walk through. And this schedule, this playoff schedule, there's going to be some upsets. telling you right now, there's going to be some upsets. I'm excited to talk about it and try to predict which ones it's going to be. But there will be upsets throughout this thing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm pumped for that and very excited for this week.
Indeed. Tyler Reddick's going to need a goodie bag to make it through. So you better make sure his mom packs him his snack packs and his little.
You hope he just has like IVs, just, them fluid bags filling him up this week.
Oh my God, who was it that got the bag of ice that was pissed off that it was so big? Like, what the hell are you giving me this gigantic bag of party size of ice for? I asked for the small cooler. What the hell? This is too big.
They ran down to the gas station. They were out of small bags. They just had the big ones left. So
they're like,
here you go, buddy.
Sir, we only have the largest left. Yeah, give me one of those. We're fine. He got a lot to cool down. Could you imagine?
Oh, that's hilarious.
What am I supposed to do with this big bag of ice when I'm driving? All right.
The struggles of race car drivers, Rob.
All right, Cody. Like you said, we'll come back tomorrow. We'll break down Atlanta for you and have some fun breaking down some super speedway racing.
Should be a good race too. Remember last time we were here in the spring, 3 wide playoff altering finish. Kyle Busch this close to making it. Daniel Suarez gets in instead, steals a spot from somebody else. I would expect another great race just like that this week. So pumped for that. Very excited. Rod, we will be back tomorrow. But in the meantime, make sure you follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff there. There's a lot of it. Going to be a lot more of it now that NFL season is ramping up as well. So make sure you stay in tuned and checking all that out. Appreciate you guys for that. Another month, Rod, has just passed in August. Another month where NASCAR articles at the top of the board. Let's fucking go. I love you guys. You're all awesome. Keep it up. Appreciate the clicks. Appreciate you guys reading that stuff. It means a lot to me. And it's great for this program. So thank you very much. You guys are all rock stars. All right, Rod. See you tomorrow.
See you on the morrow, my friend. Yeah, Kyle Busch needed the tongue in Atlanta just to stick out of his car just to him to be able to win. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bot, everything I got going on. Got some stuff coming out for Sportsbook Review this week for football, if you're so fancy. Got a good article that I put out on another site out there. You might want to go check it out because that one was a pretty good article as well. And then, of course, check out the F1 Gambling Podcast. The review of the Italian Grand Prix is going to be there, and we'll break down the next Grand Prix as well. Love you guys so much. Thanks for hanging with us this late at night. We'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, let's go racing and let it ride.